See?
You got pads?
No, I wish. I wish.
iPads and something?
First one, thank Coach Elko. He gave me this. I gave him a hard time, I think, at the when we spoke to our freshmen. And so he got me a jersey. It's a little tight. It's a little bit tight. I may have to bring it out for tomorrow night, though. So thank you to him. Obviously, very excited for their game tomorrow night. College game day being here, pretty cool thing. He's done a big-time job. Their team has been great. I got us winning tomorrow night. I'm also a big Marcus Freeman fan, but Duke's my team. Coach Elko, my favorite coach in the country, and I'm excited for tomorrow night. I'm excited for our team too. It's the first chance we get to scrimmage today, so we haven't done a lot of 5-on-5. We've had a bunch of guys out this summer, so I'm really looking forward to seeing our team, getting a feel for what we look like, but then also just give them an opportunity playing Cameron. We've been in the K-Center a lot and practicing up there, but I want us to get familiar and comfortable with being here at home. Proud of our three captains, naming Jeremy, Tyrese, and Ryan captains. We voted on it. I'll let each of our players vote. And then also there's consensus from our staff as well. So when you get the support of your teammates, in addition to something that your coaches want, it's more meaningful. I think captains is something that's not, I think it's thrown around these days, who's a captain, who's not, but it's actually meaningful. It's been something meaningful in our program for a long time. I remember myself, when I was named captain, that was a big deal to me. You think about Jeremy's experience being a senior, going to Final Four, going through some of the trials and tribulations since he's been here. I think that experience will be really important. Ryan's probably our most vocal person on the team. You know, his voice, you can ask any of our players, his voice carries a lot of weight when you think about on the court, off the court. And then Tyrese has been the guy on the floor, really being more vocal. He's probably the most demonstrative in terms of challenging other players on the team. Like, he's not afraid to say anything to anybody, and that's needed. That's very, very much needed. So I don't know what this is or what this. All right, is this yours? Am I screwing you on? All right, sorry. It's, you know, sorry. I'm gonna lay it right here. All right, you still got me.
You were good.
All right. we go far enough back where I wouldn't try to get rid of this. But happy to answer any questions.
Obviously, this year's team has tremendous backcourt depth. I mean, the secret's out, a little bit of small ball. Talk about the ability to go to that and what it is, what a luxury it is to have so many interchangeable parts out there.
Well, no matter what, you win with great guards. And I do feel, for our team, we have a lot of work we need to put in. But we have a great backcourt, I think, that can compare with anybody in the country. Still need to figure out how to play together, but all of them are unselfish. They know how to play. They're tough. And then our ability to shoot the ball is different than last year's team. And it's a matter of learning what a great shot is, learning how to play together and all those things. But you win with guards, and that shouldn't hurt Ryan's feelings or Flip, and those guys are important. But you need to have somebody in control of your team. And Tyrese and Jeremy, the experience they've had playing together. I think Jared and Caleb are very mature for their age and for their lack of experience at the college level, and they make up for it with hard work and the way they've been coached up until now. So I'm excited just to put it all together. And really for each of them, they haven't been able to play together as much because in practice, and that's something we have to do here, coming up the next few weeks.
John, how much? You guys had a trajectory where at the end of the season, the last 5-6 weeks, you guys were really playing more to potential. Guys have grown up together. How much is that experience of kind of the way you envision things coming together and it working at a high level? How valuable is that with guys like Tyrese and Mark, Kyle and Mark, I guess, coming back and seeing what it can be when they play the way you want them to?
I think that's huge. Just last year, and maybe our guys could tell you this as well. But really, everything is new. You're filling it all out. And this year, the way we're going to play is different, and that's new. But they know me. They know each other. They know what worked and what didn't work. So at least you're working with some sense of a core, of understanding what it takes to be successful. That doesn't mean we got it perfect last year either. There's a lot of losses and times where you fail and get set back, and the tournament's a good example. I've used that Tennessee game many times with our guys, and they're going to continue to hear about that. And it's also new at the same time. So I think understanding what it takes, but then also just even what we were doing at the end of the year, we have to do more than what we did at that point. So the guys have been great. They've worked their butts off. They've been all in. You can ask anybody on our staff. I mean, they get after it. It's not like we have to make these guys get in the gym. My biggest thing is not, I've said it to you before, but just really taking it one day at a time, being present, and not assuming we're entitled to anything, because we're not.
Coach, Jeremy and Kyle both mentioned the Tennessee loss still stinging to this day from last season. What have you learned about yourself as a coach going into year 2 and about your team looking forward to this season?
Well, one, it starts from the fact that all 12 of our players, but specifically the guys that chose to come back off of last year's team, they're here for a reason. So it's always good when you get a group, and you know, like if they wanted to be all about them, or if winning didn't matter, they wouldn't be here. And so I'm lucky as their coach that we have a group that feels that way. And then two, just for me, you feel, again, 11, 13 guys last year that are learning what it's like to be a Duke basketball player. Everybody on my staff is learning me, and you know, as head coach. And you know, this year, just the familiarity helps a lot. And so we're often running at a higher level, you know, and we are. Now, whether that translates right away, we still have a long way to go. But for me, I feel lucky to be able to coach these guys, because it's a great group. I could go through each one of them individually. They all being recruited by other places, MBA, transfer, could go on, and they all came back for a reason. And I think that bonds you, you know, that unifies you. And so, you know, I try to remind them of that from time to time. Like, you're here for a reason, and so follow it up now with action. Don't be about words, be about action.
John, I want to ask you about one of those individually. Now that Kyle's back playing 5-on-5, what are you seeing from him? What do you expect from him this season?
Yeah, we feel Kyle's going to be as good as any player in the country. You know, what he did in key moments last year, he showed his toughness, he showed his ability to impact winning. You know, I think back to, you know, playing at Boston College, coming up with a steal and big time rebounds in traffic. And so for him, there's going to be a natural progression where he has to shake off some rust. You know, he's still shaking off rust with his finishing around the basket or shooting the ball, but his size, his athleticism is so much improved from last season. It's a credit to him, also our, you know, sports performance team and the job that they've done. But you know, I'm anxious for him. You know, he's hard on himself. You know, so he's, you know, he'll miss some shots he normally makes, and he'll beat himself up. I want him just to keep going to the next play. Like, keep working, stay with it. He's doing extra work with Coach Carroll all the time. They're doing great work. So I couldn't be more excited for year 2 with him.
And you mentioned Ryan was the most vocal player of the team. He told us one of the things he's working on with Kyle is trying to get Kyle to be more vocal on the court. Is that one of the areas that Kyle needs to improve? Yeah,
well, Ryan feels he's working on that. I feel I'm working on that with Flip. You know, that's a big thing for him, just to assert himself more. It's, even though we have 4 guys that played a lot of minutes on last year's team, and we have 8 players returning, each one of those guys are in a different role this year. And so there's a jump you have to make. But for Kyle's, you know, Kyle's a good example of it. We relied on him heavily, but now people really look to him. You know, he's going to be, you know, if not option 1, he's option 1A in a scouting report where people are coming after you. So there's more you have to do, and using his voice is going to be something that he needs to take a jump with.
John, you talked about using that Tennessee game with the guys. Going back to watch that film, what were your takeaways from that?
Well, you know, there's a lot of takeaways, you know, and I don't want to go back through every one of them right now, but I would say the biggest thing overall was just, you know, the toughness you have to win different kinds of games. You're going to play teams where it's low possessions. You're going to play teams where it's up and down, and asserting the way that we want to play is going to be really important no matter what. And the second thing is just knowing how to play together. Like, they had a high level defense, and it's not going to come easily. So you need to break a defense down. You need to win all the details with working it, working to get open and knowing where the next pass is, and then the one after that. And so for me, it was those two things, really stood out.
John, a lot of your players are referencing the picture of State Farm Stadium in Phoenix that you have up. How do you massage that as a coach, knowing what the expectation is and still trying to take this thing kind of one game at a time? Right,
well, it's a balance, right? And it's important that you have a clear view of where you want to go together. But no, there's many steps that need to be taken in order for that to become a reality. And so for us, we're not running from it. We don't shy away from it. We talk about it as a team often. But the thing we talk about the most is what we have to do today to get better. And so as long as we're focusing on those things, I think the rest really takes care of itself. But we don't shy away from. That's what you guys came back for. That's why you guys are here. That's why I'm here. Let's go for it.
Coach, you mentioned a commitment to getting better. What is that, and your players have kind of echoed that as well. What does it mean, getting better, making a commitment to get better every day? What does that mean to you personally?
Well, it's a great question because, our guys show up, they work hard every day. You don't have to coach effort. There's another level of being special, can you be coached hard without getting in your feelings, that's what it is. Can you take coaching hard and then translate it to the next play? Great players don't just take things and all of a sudden next week it's going to happen. They immediately attack that right away. But the best teams I've been a part of here, they're player-led teams. And so the coaches can say whatever they want. I want them to take control of this team. And so the more that they're getting on each other, pushing each other, not letting anybody cut corners, anybody slide. There's times, it's human nature, we all do it. There's times where we all do it. We need somebody to hold us accountable and keep us in check. And that's really what I think, the commitment means, is going the extra step, not just showing up and working hard. There's a lot of teams that do that. A lot of teams that are going to be really good. But really where you win the details, so to speak, is in those areas.
What's it been like getting a personality like Jared's into the locker room with the team?
Yeah, Jared, he cannot be, he's unapologetically himself all the time, first of all, which I love about him. And he's so secure in who he is as a person and as a player. And the person that you may see on TikTok or I'm not on TikTok, I get videos sent to me though, so I know what he's putting out there. Social media, he's got this live personality off the court. When he gets on the court, it's like a switch. He steps over that line, and he's as good of a competitor as there is. He's cutthroat. He's intense. He always has energy. He's always talking. He's incredibly refreshing to coach. And again, I can tell you many things with his game right now. I want him to do better, and he has growth. But just his attitude, his attitude every day is so good. And it speaks a lot about his character as a person and as a competitor.
Do you have a game plan for how you want to integrate the freshmen? I don't know if you want to get the playing time, but just obviously so much experience, and then you get these 4 guys coming in with so much talent. How do you kind of balance that?
Well, I think the biggest misconception, or the thing that I've learned the most in my time at Duke, is there's always a chance where look, every coach, you're putting together a roster, you're trying to envision what can our lineup look like and what can roles be. But end of the day, these guys, the roles are going to be created by what they do every single day. And so I'm trying to go into this whole thing eyes wide open. I can tell you today, I'll have pages of notes, observations just from our scrimmage. There'll be something new that I learned today that I didn't know talking to you all. And we have 30 practices in 42 days for a reason. I want to really learn more about what team works together the best. And, of course, you have some guys on last year's team that have established themselves. They've done some really good things and been a part of some great wins. So is it the same role? Is it different? Is it more? It's all those things are going to continue to evolve. So for me, it's not about how to get guys playing time. It's about seeing what they do and then how to put it all together based on that.
John, to follow up on Jared, what's impressed you most, just strictly from a basketball perspective about him?
He never stops. He just never stops. He can, you can see the look on his face, and you don't know whether he's missed 3 shots in a row or made 3 shots in a row. You know, he just always is wired to win, and whatever it takes. He's a really good defender, can pick you up full court. You know, he's a pest. I mean that in a positive way. I'm not, you know, my big sister when I was young would always call me a pest, and that was not in a complimentary way. And with Jared, I mean it in the best way possible. And then offensively, nothing surprised me. I've seen him enough. I know his skill set, the way he can shoot, the way he can create and get in the paint. Excuse me, and get in the paint. None of that has really surprised me.
Hey, Coach Scheyer, you're coaching in a unique era of college basketball where tons of players are getting extra years, the transfer portal is wild, and the NIL is massive. What have you done to adapt and navigate these challenges as you try to put together a solid roster with chemistry?
Well, I think the biggest thing we've done is just stay true to who we are, who I feel we are at this time, right? And, you know, we have a team that has 1 transfer in Ryan Young. You know, he transferred a year ago, so now he's been in our program for 2 years. We still recruit high school players at a high level. We feel like the talent that we can get out of high school is still, end of the day, with the right characters, the right fit for us. In addition to, if there's a transfer or 2 that's the right fit, like, we'll go after them as well. But it's all about balance. It's not an exact science, still an art form. And you know, I'm lucky. The time that I've spent at Duke has been some of the most transformational times, right? I can tell you when I got here, 1, as a player, recruiting was different, but then 2, when I came back as a coach, we've had probably 2 or 3 iterations of how we recruit. And right now, I think we're in the midst of another one. You mentioned transfers. You know, you're going to have in the next couple of years, it's not going to be as many. You can still have some, but you're going to lose the COVID year. So that's going to take out, you know, a good chunk of players. The other thing that's going to happen, you're not going to have as many kids redshirt. You're going to have that still a little bit, but you think about 4 or 5 years ago, kids are transferring, redshirting and sitting out because they had to, and then you get the COVID year on top of it. So that's 2 years. You know, we have 1 more year. We have extra 2 years of eligibility. So, you know, for us, we're 18, 19, 20 a lot of the time, playing against 23, 24, 25. At times 26, now it's going to be more 22. And so is that still a big gap? Yeah, but it's different than playing 24, you know, 25. So that's something that'll be interesting a year or 2 from now, what it looks like exactly, but it'll definitely be different.
John, and on that note, when you're recruiting the kind of high school players that you guys recruit, so sort of 10, 20, 50, whatever, a lot of the schools that have sort of skewed away from focusing on high school players and toward the portal, we're looking more at that maybe 75 to 200 kind of range. Has the market for the players you guys recruit changed at all? Have there been teams that you used to compete with that have backed out, or has it remained kind of the same at your level in that sort of tier?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think for us, we end up recruiting against everybody in some ways because we recruit nationally and also globally for that matter, but especially nationally. So you'll get local schools always recruiting for those players. And so for each one of our guys, I mentioned the 12 that are here, you know, there's a couple different schools for each of them. And do we get some consistent schools we go against? Probably some that you would guess, but it really is different for each guy. And you know, to answer your question, Luke, about is it different than a few years ago, I haven't sensed that. I would have to think about it a little bit more, but I haven't sensed that where it's all of a sudden it's easier, and I don't feel that way at all. It's, you know, every guy that we go after is being recruited at a high level, and it's you know, it takes a lot to try to invest the time and energy in order to, you know, show these guys why Duke is the best spot.
John, in terms of your defense, how did you see it progress over the summer, the other work, and then this week of practice, the 1 week you've had, how would you assess kind of where it is right now?
A long way to go. Yeah, a long way to go. I mean, it's been nice. I mentioned having a core base earlier. We do have a base for some things we did last year, but I've mentioned this, it's a different way of playing defense without a Derek Lively. And so for us, really still protecting our paint. We were great last year, Steve, when it was all said and done, at protecting our rim and still protecting our three-point line. And to do those two things, it's not easy to do, but that's our expectation, to do both at a high level. So we have to do it differently. So it's a little bit reprogramming from some things we did last year, but the energy's there, the detail, we're working on all of it, but I don't think I'll ever tell you in the fourth practice I feel great, with where our defense is at. That's just me, though.
I want to ask you about the difference this offseason from last season. Last year you had Derek and Derek both were coming into the year, and it seems like it's a pretty clean bill of health right now. How does that kind of change early preparations?
Well, it's been good. For us, we've had some, nicks and guys getting hit a little bit with some bruises, things like that, but nothing serious. And you have to be ready for anything. You don't, just because it hasn't happened yet, you don't like thinking that way, but you have to be ready for anything. You talk about opportunity or guys earning minutes, you never know what happens, whether it's injury or otherwise. And so for us, being able to finally start to build some continuity with this group for the way we're going to play has been great. But again, we've got a long way to go with that.
John, what was your reaction to the ACC's decision to expand? And obviously all this stuff is driven by football and TV. And what's your level of concern about the effects of basketball or on basketball?
Well, first and foremost, I've had a lot of conversations with Nina about this. President Price has been on the front lines of this for many years. I have full trust in them. Obviously, there's a higher powers and a lot more going on than just them with this, but I can tell you that sitting still is not the answer, and doing nothing is not the answer. I think adding those 3 schools, it sounds foreign, right, because you grow up in the ACC and you think about SMU and Cal and Stanford, but a lot of what's happening is foreign, right? And so for me, I think it's 3 great additions. I think it helps. I know nothing about playing in those places. I visited Cal one time when I was in high school, so I have no idea how much changed or not changed since that moment. We've actually planned a West Coast trip already for next year. I don't know if we will be on the road or home next year, how that's going to work. But now it will at least, I would assume, be 2 trips to the West Coast, which is great. We have people out there as well. As far as basketball goes, I think our sport is solid and secure for right now, but again, we can't stay still. I think we need to continue to be creative. For us from a scheduling perspective, we're looking at doing some different things. The brand that we have is great. I never want to take that for granted. We still have the biggest following in all of college sports. That's a big deal. There's been a lot of hard work, a lot of innovation. Our creative team has been incredible. Obviously, Coach K and what he's done and meant to the school and our program. But 3 to 5 years, we're constantly talking about what can we do to make sure our brand is what it is. It should be the best in college sports. What Duke football has done has been incredible. For Duke and for the ACC. So, I don't have all the answers clearly. I don't think anybody does. If they did, I think they're lying to you. But I think as far as the moves go, they were necessary.
Time for one more.
NCAA is allowing jersey numbers to be 6 through 9 and things like that. Is that something that, I know that nobody has those numbers this year, but is that something you guys are thinking about in the future to expand to have somebody have with number 17 or something like that? Is that, or are you just going to stick with the 0 through 5?
Yeah, well, I'm grateful for everything that comes with this job. It also can cause some problems, right? We've had so many special players here. We've had such a limited amount of numbers that you can wear. And I know it's of all the problems, right? It's really such a horrible problem. So we were excited when this rule came out because now opening up more numbers is a great thing. But also just from that perspective, we're talking about ways to make sure that everybody's honored the way that they can be. You think about the retired jerseys, which when you look up there, everybody that's up there has done something off the charts. There's also some really special players that don't have their jersey number retired. And so our criteria is, to me, has been the toughest in college basketball. But anyway, you'll see, I don't know if you'll see somebody wearing 99, or I'm not going to limit guys. Whatever they're allowed to wear, they can wear. Just play well, play defense, rebound, all that. That's all I care about. So I guess next year, you'll see.
All right, Coach, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We're going to be pretty efficient and get into camera.